me ask you a question, because you brought up something that I think is an interesting point, and a point that we need to really hammer home. It's great that Fox is doing what they are doing right now for IndyCar. But I would say, first, I think the first point is, and I'm going to give you 2 points here. First,
I know where you're going.
First few weeks, first few races, leading up to the Indianapolis 500, critical.
Yep.
We have just seen what the secondary NASCAR series could do on the CW, right? You're going to go directly up against NASCAR on Fox. TV rating, critical for the first few races, especially with the marketing push that they've had right now. Second point is IndyCar relying too much on the, and they've done this before with NBC. I remember this exact same thing. Relying too much on the TV provider to market the series for them.
Yeah. What have we seen besides Fox? We haven't seen much. We've seen a new app for the fantasy that's been met with some criticism and has been met with open arms by some. To your point, it is critical every race perform when it comes to the TV ratings, because you don't want to get to the end of the season and Fox is going, holy crap, we did all this and this is the number that we got.
Yep.
Hello FS1 and FS2 for 2026. I think it's great that you're going to be able to watch all practices, qualifying, those type of things. Fox has done a great job, but you have to watch St. Pete, you know, and you mentioned this. We were talking, I think, about the Daytona 24-hour ratings, that type of thing. I think St. Pete can get a good number. What I'm looking at is a race like Thermal or a race like Barber, where there isn't every advertisement you've seen right now, whether it was the Super Bowl, whether it was the pack you got in the mail that had Joseph on it. I love some of the outside of the box thinking that Fox is doing. However, I'm more interested. It's St. Pete. St. Pete's what you hear. Okay, so what about Thermal, which the All-Star $1 Million Challenge, whatever the hell it was last year, because nobody knew what it was. If that lays an egg, because it's probably not going to be the most exciting race. Barber can kind of be a snoozer. The Indy GP can certainly be a snoozer.
Oh, yeah.
Please turn.
We need some sprinklers.
If it's sunny out there, put the sprinklers down the backstretch down home.
I'll go out there with a garden hose. I'll do it. Hey, Doug, I'll do it. I'll get that garden hose out.
I'll stand out there.
But I think
you have to have a good number. I mean, what's a good number? Is it 1.5 million for St. Pete?
Yes.
You taking that?
1.5. I think you want to be around where Mid-Ohio was, because I think it'll be leading into NASCAR, which is going to help you a lot.
Yep.
So the last IndyCar race that led into NASCAR was Mid-Ohio.
Yep. That
did about 1.5 million people. But here's the thing, Tony, and it's something that we harp on. We all harp on. Whether you're talking the media, you're talking drivers, you're talking fans. This is where the schedule is going to hurt them. Unfortunately, because you talk about that Thermal race.
Yeah.
And if that Thermal race is the week after St. Pete, I'm feeling a lot more confident than I am 2.5 weeks after St. Pete, which is where it is right now. I refuse to call it 2 weeks, but apparently 3 weeks isn't accurate to say either. So 2.5 weeks after St. Pete is Thermal.
There's accurate. We got to be accurate around here.
We got to get it right. You know,
I don't want to get an X post that's like 9.
Oh, that's coming anyway.
Long.
Don't you worry, buddy.
But what is that weekend? What is Thermal weekend? What big event that everybody loves that weekend? It's the opening round of the NCAA tournament you're going up against. Last year in Thermal they were doing. I remember driving through Palm Springs, listening to one of the games. And look, you can't sit around and go, oh, well, we're going to move this. I mean, they've already proven that they don't want to go up against the NFL, right?
So, and you can't with Fox.
And you can't.
You can't.
But you know, you can't go around and say, no, we don't want to go up against the Masters. We don't want to go up against the NCAA tournament. You kind of take what the schedule gives you and what Fox wants, and when Fox wants it. But I'm excited. I'm optimistic about it. But I'm also a realist. And if you lay an egg at St. Pete, I mean, what do you think is going to get the casual viewer to watch the first race besides Joseph as a little seaman running across the commercial? I don't know if that was a proper term or not.
That's crazy.
That's a crazy thing to say. I'm trying to think. Because
Alex Palou French kissing.
Well, I think that the ads are fine.
Yeah, no.
And here's the thing. I see this on Twitter a lot. I'm about to get in trouble.
I might have to stop you.
I'm not gonna. But here's the thing. I see some people complaining about the ads on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, you're gonna ruin it.
That's what the Zoomers want, right?
You're gonna ruin it.
Don't the Zoomers
want? Stop. They're spending so much. Like, I get it, man. I get it. Like, maybe the terminology used in the ad is not up to your personal stand.
Yeah.
Just cool it. It's okay.
It's been good.
So my question to both of you, I think, since you brought up, do you think the TV or IndyCar is letting the TV do, most of the work? What would you like? What would you like to see from IndyCar to do specifically? Like, what would you want them to do?
IndyCar. I've said this. This is the example I've used, that you took me into a Lego store in Nashville, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't get out of there quick enough.
It was educational.
But when you walk into a Lego store, which I'm not into, but adults build Legos, and a lot of
kids.
You go in there, you see IMSA, you see NASCAR, you see Formula One.
And Formula E, and
Formula
Extreme E,
and all that. Okay, you go into a Meyer location here locally in Indianapolis, you can get NASCAR cards, you can get Formula One cards, you can get, die-cast cards.
Many of the same Lego sets you saw in that Lego store in Meyer, right?
IndyCar's biggest problem is getting into households, which is having sponsors that are brand name, having yourself inside of grocery stores with little cars, those type of things.
They've got shirts in Target.
And stores that aren't within 465, by the way.
They have shirts in Target, and then they had a shirt last year in one of the stores, because I bought one from Hollister. It's the only thing I've ever bought in Hollister in my life. But they had one, and it said Indy 1992 with Graham Rahal's aero screen car. Even some of the shirts, it's wait a minute. I always said IndyCar needs a fact checker. They need somebody in that office that's fact checking everything.
Wow.
Hey, St. Pete TV channel, instead of saying, hey, this is the highlights from today's IndyCar practice and it's USF 2000, just send them a highlight package of one of the practices, and maybe they do. I don't know. But there was just some things where you look at, and I've got a shirt that's got the 95 logo on it from Hollister. On the back, it's got Lion Dyke's 93 car. Now, the average person that's walking into Hollister probably has no clue and just thinks it's a cool shirt. But to the diehards like us, we kind of see that, and we're going to critique it. What would I like to see IndyCar do more? I'm going to give them some credit. They have been doing a lot of things. They're inside of Hollister. They're inside of Target now. They do have cards. We're waiting on a video game. But, I've always said this. When you go into markets, going to a local baseball game, a Rangers game, a Tigers game, whatever it is, great. Get into schools, hand tickets to practice days, get on local TV, get on local radio, embrace social media and those people that may want to interview or have a one-on-one with the driver. I know you hate the term influencers, but get people talking about it. Get a buzz going. There is a buzz around the Indianapolis 500. Everybody in the month of May gets into it, right? I get it. You're not. If you could copy and paste that at the other events, you certainly would. But I would like to see IndyCar, and I know they've moved some people around. Alex Dameron's been moved up, but let's get more mainstream. Look, you saw at Daytona, the Rizzler was there. I saw more of the Rizzler at the Daytona 500. There was some
but that
comics
happens at
there.
the Indy 500 too.
But who?
Yeah, we
Who?
don't get. Okay.
Who?
We don't get
This
the
is
Rizzler.
this is hilarious
Who?
because he's the Rizzler, right? But we don't even get the height of the Rizzler.
Well, that's true.
On a social media front, right? Sure, a couple years ago we had Adam Driver, and there's been a few years, the one year we had Matt Damon, the both of
There was that guy who
It's
walked
few
in the
and far
pagoda,
between.
right?
There were a few years where we had relevant actors from big movies coming out, but man, we do need the Rizzler to show up. We need that
And when that person
mainstream
shows up,
TikTok, so reels, what's trending in the time, right? We need the Rizzler, guys.
And when those people show up, they need to be tweeting, hey, can you throw up an Instagram post? Hey, it's cool to be in a two-seater. That's badass. It's cool to wave a green flag and be close to those cars. One of the best things, if you're watching at home, what I've done, you've done it, is showing somebody a racetrack and an Indy car in front of you for the first time. It's mind-blowing. It's awesome. Have them posting about it. But it's just been too few and far between. I know that celebrities are not going to grow IndyCar overnight. I totally understand that. But having these people, Ken Griffey Jr. obviously was right on my wheelhouse last year. But
Nobody knows or cares who Ken Griffey Jr. is anymore. I hate to tell you that.
No, you're wrong,
Tony's mad.
Mr. If I could, I'd go back. You live in the 80s and 90s. What are you talking about?
No, I'll tell you, Aaron Judge. Aaron
Okay,
Judge
perfect.
should be the pace car.
Sure.
But here's the thing.
No problem with that.
I've heard two crazy things in the past.
Tom Brady. Oh wait, no, they would hate him because of Peyton Manning.
Oh, don't you worry. We're going to talk about Tom Brady here in a second. First of all, we need the Rizzler is crazy. But it's not as crazy as saying we need a fact checker on a show called Unverified.
Well,
that's crazy. Now, hang on a second.
I'm not an IndyCar employee, so I can say that.
You guys are over.
We are different than them.
You guys are overthinking it.
Can I get a billboard?
Hang on.
Can I get a billboard? Oh, wait, that's what Mark Miles wants to do, and all we have is positive billboards.
Hang on. Calm down. Listen. We don't need a fact checker. We don't need a billboard. We don't need the Rizzler. What was happening the last 2 days?
They need a fact checker.
Hang on. What was happening the last 2 days in IndyCar?
Testing at Sebring.
Did you see any content coming out of it? The only person making content was Marshall Pruitt because he was there for him. What is going on? Why is there no? This is the first time the full field has been on the racetrack since Nashville of last year.
Yep.
Where is the content? And I'm talking. I get it. It is. Let me say this because I know because we're doing it right now. It is a pain in the ass to do a live show.
Yep.
But you have a production company. Yep. You have that under the tent.
Yep. What a great way to grow your YouTube channel is by streaming live.
You don't have to do a full production of you don't have to run cameras and all that around the track, but have a couple cameras set up.
Yep.
Have Hinch and Will Buxton go there and just host a live show. When a driver comes off the track, grab them, bring them over, talk about the lap times. These are things that it's. I don't want to say it's simple.
On Monday, it was cold outside. They were looking for something to watch.
I don't want to say it's simple because it's not. It's complicated. It costs money. But when the cars are on the racetrack and it is so limited now, we have got to be pretending like that is the biggest freaking thing in the world. And what happened at Sebring? Crickets. We got a couple of timesheets, and I don't even think did they even stream the timing and scoring for the fans?
No,
they had a bug with it on Monday, I believe. I think they eventually maybe got it. I don't know. How about sending some people down there that cover your sport and saying, "Hey, we'll help you out. Come down here. Let's make this the kickoff. Let's make this." I mean, the
have
roar,
media day there.
Make it almost what the roar is. The roar.
Yes.
I also want to point out that like the spring training idea is great. And it's crazy because like we used to do that, right? Like, like I remember a few years growing up.
Thermal.
What's funny is like I'm really young, but I've been a fan of IndyCar, like following it completely for about 10 or 12 years now. And like through the phases, I can remember 2017, 16, and even 15 and 14, where like not only the practice sessions were free on YouTube. I understand why that's not a thing anymore, but also like they would go do spring training at Phoenix, and even though it was one guy on the roof, like I was getting excited when it was cold outside, and I could just watch the new season's IndyCars racing around Phoenix, and it got me like excited.
That was in that growth period I was talking about, by the way, when it was like when IndyCar was like ramping up, and like I was noticing, wow, that was when I started my YouTube channel focusing on IndyCar because I was confident. I'm like, oh, my favorite thing is going somewhere. Yeah. This is moving forward. There are young people learning about this, and that's what's missing right now. And that's what frustrates me a lot. We hope you enjoyed that clip from our new show, Unverified. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m., you can join us live over on the Unverified channel. Click the link on the screen or down in the description below to join in some great conversations about IndyCar, the Indianapolis 500, and motorsports throughout the world.